Om Shanti. Are you all happy? Now we are going to discuss the most important topic revolving God Shiva. Recently, one Agori asked the media that he was wondering whom God Shiva was meditating upon, because the whole world, especially Hindus, know that there is none superior to God Shiva. So we are all meditating upon God Shiva. That being the case, who is God Shiva himself meditating upon? That makes him wonder if there is anyone supreme to God Shiva himself. But if he actually got the vision of God Shiva while he was meditating, and that is why he was wondering if there is any power superior to God Shiva. But if you look at the picture of God Shiva where he was wearing a snake around his neck, you will also find Shivling right in front of him. So the answer to Agori's question is he is meditating upon Shivling or God Shiva. So the actual question should be, if Shivling is God Shiva, who is sitting in front of Shivling? Yes, that's the truth. Only Shivling represents God Shiva and not the one who is sitting in front of Shivling. He is not called as God Shiva but as Shankar. He can be considered as the intense devotee of God Shiva and not God Shiva himself. They have combined both God Shiva and Shankar and call him Shiv Shankar instead of Shankar. If you wonder if there is any human being like Shankar in the world or in any world, the actual truth is there is nobody like Shankar ever. That picture was created in the path of devotion. So people continue to believe that it is God Shiva. Although Shankar is not God Shiva, but still we can consider Shankar to be the human representation of God Shiva. But you should also keep in mind that God never takes birth as a human. But towards the end of Kali Yuga, to save the humanity from sorrow and pain, God enters an old man's body and he names him Brahma and starts giving his divine teachings through Brahma's mouth. Those divine teachings are called Murli, which is available absolutely free of cost in all Brahmakumaris Raj Yoga meditation centers that spread across the globe. All our videos are purely based on direct knowledge of God Shiva and not from any religious scriptures. Religious scriptures and the things mentioned in the religious scriptures may be false because it was written by humans. But the things we say can never go wrong because it is from the direct knowledge of God Shiva himself. In one way, we can all be considered as Shankar. Or we can say it is our aim to reach the stage of Shankar. If you take a close look at the mesmerizing appearance of Shankar, you will see his eyes half open and half closed. So that is our aim because God teaches us to practice not seeing anything in the world although you see it, not hearing anything that you hear in this world although you hear it. And you cannot imagine Shankar without Trishul. The Trishul represents the knowledge of the three times, past, present, and future. God reveals about our past, present, and future by saying This world was created as heaven 5000 years back, and now it has become hell, and it is again going to be converted into heaven. While we were in heaven, we were filled with divine qualities, which is why we were called deities. But after taking several rebirths towards the end of this 5000-year time cycle, we have reached the stage where we are filled with devilish qualities. And that is why we cause sorrow to each other through mind, words, and actions. And the real reason behind that is while we were in heaven, we were fully soul conscious, which means we considered ourselves to be the soul that shines like a tiny star in between the eyebrows. Since our maximum concentration was on ourselves, that is, the souls, we were not attracted to the worldly things. That was the reason we were free from lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. Being soul conscious makes us experience happiness and peace throughout our lifetime because the true nature of soul itself is peacefulness and blissfulness. After taking several rebirths, we slowly become body conscious and started becoming slaves for these five vices and sensual pleasures. That is the reason we start committing more and more sins, because of which we are getting more and more punishment in the form of natural calamities and conflicts within family and between countries. Since each one of us has mountain of sins above our head, God has no option but to destroy this Kali Yuga. Nonetheless, God arrives to give us strength to face the world destruction by giving this divine knowledge. God says the root cause of all our sorrow and pain is being body conscious. It is by becoming body conscious that Maya in the form of five vices, lust, attachment, anger, greed, and ego came into being. God reveals this secret, and in order to escape from the grips of Maya, we need to become soul conscious again. But we were accustomed to being body conscious for the past 2500 years, which is why it is going to be very difficult to get rid of body consciousness and to become soul conscious again. To be honest, we have absolutely no power left to become soul conscious again. That is why God asks us to connect our mind and intellect to God Shiva and to nothing else. God resides in a golden red colored light world called Parandam as a point of light. We souls are also residing in between the eyebrows as a point of light. Both souls and God Shiva look very similar in appearance. Because God Shiva is also a soul, which is why we call him as Supreme Soul, Param Atma. The only difference that makes God Shiva supreme is he is ever pure, ever knowledgeful, ever blissful, ever peaceful. We will know about his divine qualities in detail while we read Murli on daily basis. So it is not enough to think of God as a point of light as much as possible, but in addition to it, we also need to think about what God says in Murli daily. We also need to see each other as a point of light and not as a body. Of course, this will take time and effort from our side. And God gives us this practice to become soul conscious again because this world is going to be converted into heaven, Satyug again. So He gives us strict orders to not get carried away by anything that happens around you. We need to constantly bring attention inwards. We should see whether we are considering ourselves as souls, whether our soul is peaceful and blissful and free from worldly attractions every now and then. This is why Shankar is depicted as a man with his eyes half closed or half open. Since God says you are going to rule heaven again as Sri Lakshmi and Narayan, our mind should be filled with this aim all the time. Even if the world destroys right before your eyes, your mind should focus only on the heaven that is about to come soon after the destruction of this old world. So you will be immersed in the ocean of happiness constantly by constantly thinking about the future and not the present. That's the reason we see Shankar's face so mesmerizing, and he is always seen sitting in the middle of the graveyard, because even during the world destruction, we will all be happy if we follow the instructions of God Shiva constantly. That is possible only when you remember the three times present, past, and future constantly, which is why Shankar is always holding Trishul, which represents the knowledge about the three times. And Shankar is shown with the third eye, which actually means the eye of knowledge. So that knowledge represents the knowledge that we are actually imperishable souls and not this perishable body. So we always have this awareness that we are interacting with souls and not with the body. This protects us from all those five vices, especially lust. The snakes that we find in Shankar's hand and neck represents these five vices. Snakes are supposed to bite us; instead, in Shankar's body, it looks as an ornament. Likewise, Kali Yuga people are supposed to fall for these five vices, but since we are in remembrance of God Shiva, these five vices become slaves for us. And Damuru, shown in Shankar's hand, represents our seva of giving this divine knowledge to our fellow brothers and sisters. So we can become as divine as Shankar only by being in remembrance of God Shiva, and also by being in remembrance of the divine knowledge of God Shiva, which is Murli. So the reason they portray Shivling in front of Shankar is he is meditating upon God Shiva with the aim of becoming as divine as God Shiva himself. So we can become Shankar, who is filled with divine qualities like God, but we can never become God Shiva. Our sins, our past sins, will be washed away only by remembering God as a point of light and not as a human form or in a Shankar form. So, unless you become fully conscious, which is going to take a long time and effort, you are not supposed to look at this world. Uh, you have to avoid looking at this world as much as possible. So we should first practice soul conscious within our family. Slowly, our soul conscious practice become more and more perfect. Then we can start practicing soul consciousness among our friends and in the working place. When you reach a point that you naturally see the soul without any effort, and you no longer see the body, that is when it is called your third eye has fully opened. That is exactly when the world destruction will start. That is why they say when God Shiva opened his third eye, the world destruction will start. But in reality, God Shiva is always soul conscious, but it is when we become soul conscious, the world destruction starts taking place. And to become soul conscious fully, the main obstacle is going to be the lust. Only when you reach a point when you are no longer even slightly disturbed by lust, then you can be called as fully soul conscious, and also you can be called as someone who conquered lust fully. That is why there is a Puranic story where God Shiva has destroyed Manmadan, the god of lust, by opening his third eye. So it is we Shankar who has to keep our third eye of knowledge always open and conquer lust fully by becoming fully soul conscious. If you are not a Brahmakumari and if you have not watched our videos before, and if this is the first time you are watching this video and still you can understand whatever we said in this video, we congratulate you because you are definitely one among those 33 crore deities of heaven. Thank you so much for watching this video this long, and also keep watching our channel for many divine secrets to be revealed. Thank you. Om Shanti.